Their starting quarterback now has 24 women accusing him of asking for handies.
Not Andes,
Not
handies.
handies.
Oh, good old fashioned.
He'd be totally out of the league if he asked for an Andy.
How much is an Andy? You don't know.
We don't know.
Your career. It's another Ask Casters podcast. Numero trace for ASS. Again, Andy, Scrode, Schwammy, at Ask Casters, at ASSCASTERS. We're going to cover a lot of topics today. We're going to bounce all over the map from different sports. Just got done with the NHL Draft. We'll pick the brains of Scrode and Schwammy, talk about at least the first round, players to be drafted, teams that didn't get a chance to draft, who made the best moves, etc., etc. Then we'll hop into, haven't touched any NBA really in our first two podcasts. We'll take a look at what's been taking place during free agency. The last week and a half, there has been a lot of money spent on players that some are staying for teams that they've been with for some time. Going to keep some markets that maybe don't necessarily have marquee players. They're going to keep those markets very happy for at least the next half decade at the cost of millions and millions and millions of dollars. Then after we get done with the NBA, actually might touch base a little bit on what's been taking place with Baker Mayfield, now just leaving the Cleveland Browns in what has been an absolutely terrible situation from multiple standpoints. Cleveland showing its true colors as far as a dysfunctional organization now, as it always has been. So what does Baker Mayfield's prospects look like down in Carolina now? What do NFL bettors think that his presence is going to have down in Carolina? And then maybe let's take a look at some teams where Baker Mayfield did not go and where their prospects are going to be sitting for the year. Finally, might touch a little bit of baseball. There's not a lot of good things to say about baseball right now, but maybe that's what we need to talk about. The state of the game, getting ready to approach the All-Star game. We're at the halfway point, so good time to reflect. Take a look forward, and then finally our first trivia game, which will have a little bit of NHL draft flavor. So to the two acronyms S's, Scrode, Schwammy. Scrode, you first. How goes it?
It was a good week. I did a lot of good napping, and my Devils. It was a C effort for me this week. That's what I felt. It was a good week. Shall we see?
It was a decent week for me, besides work. Other than that, as far as kind of my sports teams are concerned, the Avs didn't have a first-round draft pick. Actually didn't have a draft pick until I think the 6th round, so I didn't really pay attention a whole lot to the NHL draft because, as the LA Rams would say, fuck them picks after you win a championship.
Well, that's all New Jersey has right now are picks, so we can't adopt that same attitude. We picked up Vanacek to kind of alleviate some of the goaltending troubles.
But not in the draft, right?
Not in the draft, but in the trade, on the trade market. They swapped twos with the Capitals and gave them a third-round draft pick.
You usually go home with twos.
One night.
And if you go home with 5 twos, that's a 10. It takes a little over a month, but that's fine.
The New Jersey draft wasn't as bad as going home from the bar with 5 twos, or as good as going home from the bar with 5 twos. They bulkened up, or bulkened, I don't know, that right, the right word.
Is that a word?
They bolstered their defense.
Not a word.
Just like besheveled.
They bolstered their defense, which they greatly needed to do. I was happy with their draft pick. I thought they were going to make some more moves. I still think they are going to make a big free agency signing. I'm
Like Johnny Hockey? Is that what you're alluding to?
Our other Asscaster, Joel, and I were discussing this
Remote
the other day. Yeah,
Asscaster.
the remote Asscaster. You'll be introduced to him later.
He's currently keeping the porn bot stimulated.
And giving them free shirts. He. Fuck! I forgot what we were talking about.
We're talking about the New Jersey Devils with the signing with a big name. You were alluding to.
We want a Calgary boy, but the Calgary boy we want is Matthew Tkachuk. I think he's a better fit for what they're doing offensively. Jack needs someone that can protect him and go get pucks down low, even though Jack's pretty good at that, being a small guy.
Miles Wood.
No.
Are you sure?
No. But yeah, I think Matt Tkachuk would be that would be number one on my wish list.
That's not a bad thing to wish for, but where's your playmaker? Who's going to be is it going to be Hughes? Are you going to put him on the line with Hughes or
That's
Heischer?
what I would do.
Or Heischer?
No, I'd separate Heischer and Jack.
Okay.
And then throw Bratter in.
Bratter
probably in with Heischer. Dirt Mercer with Jack.
And then where does how do you pronounce his name? Your new draft pick, is it Nimich? There's no H.
Nimich. It's
Nemec.
I think that's how the.
I don't think he can afford the C or H. What?
Wow.
Not yet.
Well, he might now, but
yeah.
Depends on how big his pasta was last night. But Nimich,
they don't have pasta there. Duh.
He led the draft in acne talent, bar none.
Oh God.
He needs to get the Neutrogena sponsors on his bandwagon ASAP. But he looks like a responsible defenseman, a right shot. I think he's even going to participate in rookie camp coming up here.
I mean, he is a rookie.
Well, not rookie camp, but tryouts.
Acne on the face of an NHL prospect that's being drafted is pretty similar to cauliflower ear in MMA. If you don't see it, don't trust it.
If they look too pretty, don't trust them.
That's why. Who's the pretty fighter? The UFC fighter, the blonde girl.
Paige Van Zandt.
Yeah, she won her first. I remember she kicked someone in the head pretty well.
And then that was it.
Yeah, then she quit and she got hot. Or she just kept being hot.
And everybody online was talking about their foot fetish of how they would have preferred to take Paige Van Zandt's foot to their face.
I don't remember this.
You don't follow the same accounts I do.
Yeah, you have me following a lot of strange accounts, but they're worth it.
I got more if you want them.
Like the out of context people.
Chaotic nightclub photos. I've got all of it.
Oh, they're so good.
I stay on Twitter for the news.
Jesus Christ. Probably shouldn't.
Andy, how did the Vegas Knights draft go?
So, as we all know, Vegas has been on a downhill spiral ever since they acquired superstar Buffalo Sabres multi-million-dollar prospect, best guy ever, Jack Eichel. Yeah, that didn't work out. So, is he a locker room killer? What happened?
Well, I don't think he's played enough to maybe say if he has been with the Knights yet. I think I don't know. You hear always conflicting reports coming out of Buffalo about him as a character and other, I don't think, off the ice, I won't say issues, just things that have happened with him, with fan interactions. And honestly, to give him some leeway, it could be just frustration that playing for an organization like that hasn't been good. And you were supposed to be the guy, but you weren't surrounded with more guys to help you out in a sense. Well, they have some good players sprinkled in there. Just not as good as a team I think at the time the Knights or the Avalanche, the Lightning, Toronto, whatever you may have. They're just not good depth-wise.
Shall from a GM perspective, and Andy too.
I'm not a GM.
Put your GM hat on.
I've got it on.
You're Scott Pioli right now. So
he is bald.
Put your Scat Pioli hat on.
Or as we like to call it in NHL locker rooms, Albanian pasta.
We were just learning about Albanians selling cocaine in Europe, but anyway.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you also give Jack Eichel leeway, or maybe not leeway, but do you give him maybe this 2022-2023 season is a new birth for Jack? He doesn't have to deal with the injury nonsense anymore. He can have a full training camp with the team. He can practice with his teammates who are healthy. I think this will be the defining year in Jack Eichel's career.
I honestly think that the Knights are fine. Last year sucked just because they fell apart at the end of the season and they had such high expectations going in. I mean, the fact that they missed the playoffs after where they were halfway through the season's just a shocking development. But as far as the fresh new start next year, I'm with you. I think Eichel's probably going to prove his worth. I mean, somebody like that just doesn't lose their talent. So the fact that he was so talented and was able to show his individual talent so well in Buffalo when he wasn't surrounded with anything, and now he's got assets to all sides of him, ready to support him and help him out and take off some of the workload, really. I think he's going to prove to help Vegas. I would expect Vegas to make the playoffs again next year. I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't.
What do they do at goaltending?
I don't know. I really don't know that situation well enough to know what type of a position they're in. I don't know. I'm still bitter about them getting rid of Marc-Andre Fleury, even though he's been on 7 teams since then. But I just feel like when he was there, things were chugging along quite smoothly, and that veteran leadership that he provided just had those guys. You knew what to expect night to night with Fleury there. You don't right now. But that's not to say that they're
the starter right now.
I'm with you. Yeah. So again, I'm bitter the fact that he's not there. And I guess I just don't understand enough about Marc-Andre Fleury personally to understand why he's bounced from team to team to team to team the way that it seems that he has when he provides so much value at that position.
I don't think it's necessarily Fleury's problem. I think it's more of the teams he's been on, their problem. He was left just because the Penguins at the time thought he was, starting to age out. They wanted to move on from him, and which is fair. He was with the organization since he was drafted in 2003, and so they left him to be available in the expansion draft, and the Knights hopped on him. So that's that. I don't blame the Knights for getting drafting him in that expansion draft or picking him in that draft. So that's not necessarily his fault being traded away in a sense. I think it's kind of short-minded in the Knights trading him or getting rid of him to Chicago when they did. And that was never going to be a good fit. That team in Chicago is on the downward, trajectory, and it's going to be rock bottom here in the next couple of years. And so, him getting traded away for picks was another reason for Chicago. It was a reason for Chicago to trade him, is to get those picks back from Minnesota. And now it sounds like him and Talbot are going to just be a tandem. So it's not exactly, I don't think, necessarily a Fleury problem. It's just the situation that the teams that he's been playing on just kind of had to give up their hands and just say, hey, he's available. What can we get for him?
And I want to say during either my morning or my 3 a.m. pee or my 5 a.m. pee, I saw...
He's a 2-hour guy.
Oh, yeah, I can't stay asleep that... Oh, my God. There's a gigantic booger hanging out of my nose. Oh, my God. Wow. Wow. That bat was no longer in the cave.
He's like 11 from Stranger Things. When he puts all his powers in a podcast, there's something coming out of the nose.
Whoa!
I don't have a lot of powers, boys and girls.
That was disgusting.
It was just a bat wanting to say hi to everyone, that's all.
Just a bat from the upside down just hanging out.
Oh, you guys need to finish.
I know. That's what she said.
God, if I had a nickel. Anyway, hockey.
Yeah, it's a great sport. No, I in between my 3 a.m. piss and my 2 a.m. piss, I think I saw where Cam Talbot's agent and Cam Talbot and Billy Guerin weren't getting along. Did anyone else see that, or am I making shit up?
Getting along, I think Talbot's agent was frustrated with Guerin, but Guerin's like, he's under contract.
So I'm
he's
not making
fucking
this
playing.
up. Like, something happened, right?
Kinda.
Okay.
Kinda.
See, my 3 a.m. pisses are learning adventures, you know?
They're always an adventure no matter what time you get up.
Mine. I generally find out and learn, why didn't I flush the toilet the last time I pissed in it? And then I think to myself, I'm not lazy or dirty. I'm just conserving water. Hashtag save the planet.
But you're not. I mean, you're not intentionally saving the planet.
No, it's kind of unintentionally done.
He's subconsciously doing it.
I have a question, and this is non-sports related, but maybe some of the older gentlemen in the podcast, in the Askcaster land. Do you guys sit down when you piss at night? Like, it's 3 a.m. and you're like, fuck.
Depends on how tired I am.
Yeah.
Even at my drunkest, I'm standing up.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you would have adopted the sit down method.
No, my
Powering through.
3 a.m. Friday piss is gonna look like the beginning of the first episode of Succession. There's gonna be urine everywhere.
Gross.
Oh man. Yeah.
So anyway, let's go back to hockey real quick. So with the draft, we talked a little bit about where some things fell. We didn't talk about the pick that was supposedly Vegas's baby going back about 12 months, and he was supposed to be the number 1 pick. Ended up falling to Seattle at 4, Shane Wright. How the hell did that even happen?
Well, I will say there's a lot of people that didn't think he was consensus number 1. But falling to 4, I did not see. I thought he was going to fall to 2, 3 at most.
But watching it happen made sense. Like, you didn't think, I don't know, I didn't have the foresight to see it happening, but when I was watching it happen during the draft, I was like, okay, well, Devils don't need him, kind of what we talked about last week. And then Coyotes didn't really need him. Logan Cooley.
What a cool pick.
Cool pick. And he didn't look like he was, like, had a shit fucking stuck in his ass like Shane Wright did.
So Wright looked
to
wrong.
explain what you're talking about. You think Shane Wright's a conceited prick?
Yeah, he just has a look about him. And Shane Wright, I've never met.
And now
you.
we know. No, go ahead.
I was waiting for the drop shot.
I know you're good.
He just doesn't look. And Shane Wright, I've never met you. You could be a really nice guy. I don't know. I'm just watching the television.
And TJ could be the conceited prick.
It probably is true. I'm probably projecting my deficiencies to you. But you just, I mean, it looked like you were a douchebag. It looked like he was a douchebag. But Logan went before him, and I think Seattle, I think he's a great fit for Seattle.
I think so too. Gives them more depth that they desperately need.
Yeah, it's another center for him. So they have 2 centers, I think. I don't know if they're dynamic, but
They're solid.
Yeah.
It's a start for an expansion franchise.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, he was what, minus 5,000 at the beginning of the year.
So when they released odds, trying to figure out who was going to be in this draft and who's going to be number 1, Shane Wright came in at minus 5,000, which is significant favorite. Some books even had him high as minus 6,000, which is just even more crazy to think about. And that number continued to slide for whatever reason or reasons over the course of 12 months. But even into as late as the last week going into the draft, and even at some books as late as the last 24 hours before the draft, some had him still projected to be the first pick. And then it looks like, for whatever reason, Jurog Slogwovich or whatever his name was, he ended up being first. And that, I don't know, it was what it was. The other thing that I wanted to see if you guys paid enough attention to, there's some really, really good teams that we know in the NHL that we don't really need to focus on what they did in the draft. But I think what we kind of see in the draft are who the really, really bad teams are going to be going into next season. And you guys touched on it a little bit with Chicago. Chicago looks like they're in a complete, I mean, it's not even a free fall.
Tear down, rebuild.
Yeah, this is like no foundation left, start from scratch. And picks on top of picks on top of picks. And I don't think they're going to be good. This isn't like a 2 or 3 year rebuild. This is like 5-year rebuild
Yeah.
bad.
If you're Seth Jones, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, well, he should be reconsidering maybe giving up some money to help sign some more better players. I mean, he took a ridiculously big contract for the player that he is. Don't get me wrong, great player, but he's no Cale Makar, he's no Victor Hedman at this point of his career. He's solid all the way around. He's good defensively. He can contribute offensively, no problem. But is he worth his contract? And you know who also needs a restructure, honestly, is Kane and Taves. Because they also took ridiculously high salaries when they signed, a decade ago. Which was justifiable at the time. But now that they're starting to become older, you need to start helping the organization out so it doesn't take 5 years to rebuild this thing.
And Taves and Kane have to ask themselves a few questions. Taves has to ask himself, do I want to retire a Blackhawk? Do I want to retire as the captain of the Blackhawks? And if he stays with the Blackhawks, they're not taking the C away from him no matter what.
Right.
If Kane, he needs to think about what he wants to do with the future. I don't feel like he is as tied to Chicago as Taves, and it sounds like Chicago is taking an overwhelming amount of phone calls with interest to Patrick Kane.
And why wouldn't you?
Oh my God, he still makes plays. He's amazing. I love watching him play. I mean, he's just great. I don't have the words. He's a great American player. He's the greatest
American.
He's the greatest American aside from Austin Matthews. I don't know where he goes, but I hope the best for him.
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends on where the return can be. Do you think he's from Buffalo. Would you send him there, or would Buffalo want him in that contract? Maybe to help start some of their younger core? Go back home and play for the hometown team.
Punch another cab driver.
Yeah, that happens. Hey, cabbies can be assholes too.
This is true.
Andy, you are well aware of this.
I know I'm no longer allowed in cabs.
Blacklisted.
He's the only one with a negative Uber rating.
No, my Uber rating is 4.93, but that was after, again, we talk about me being a reformed human every once in a while. I learned a lesson after, I think, a yellow cab company said they weren't going to pick me up anymore.
The reformed metrosexual.
Yes, I figured out how to use public transportation.
Oh, I have a higher Uber rating than you.
What? You're higher than 4.93?
I'm a 4.96.
Oh, that just means you haven't been evaluated.
Thank you, Russian judge.
Hold on, because I know I was beating you guys.
Thank you.
Boo.
You didn't win the showcase yet.
Yes, I did.
Hold on.
By the way, one thing I was wondering about prices right now.
Yeah.
Does it account for our current inflation? Because
the price is wrong.
If a normal customer would, what is your Uber rater higher? What? It's higher.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, wait. What's your minimum though? How many? Because that could have been one. That could have been one Uber ride that you were ranked 5.
Okay, let's look.
Yeah, we need to look that up. There's no way you're a 5 star.
Dude.
Anyway, I'm at the Price is Right.
Yeah.
While you're looking that up, I'm at the Price is Right. They put a boat on there with a love seat. I'm like, okay, I got it. Boat, probably $28,000. Depends on how big it is. Are we going 25-footer, 29-footer? How big? And then standard love seat in California. I mean, the way that they do it with real leather, probably $4,000. I think, retail value, $29,000, $30,000. But now I'm feeling that boat, especially like a fiberglass boat, fiberglass is getting expensive. So that I'm probably upping my value. My wager is going to be probably $32,500 now. But do they account for the inflation?
I don't know. What is your thoughts?
I think with the plane ticket prices right now, they're so low, that probably balances out a few things. So when you go to Mali or Bali or Pango, it's not as expensive as it used to be.
What are you talking about?
Just talking about the showcases, baby.
Okay.
So the plane tickets to those exotic resorts, they're not that expensive.
Yeah, that's easy to bet on, though. I'm talking about the boat. I've
Well,
got raw materials we need to account for in this boat.
But who the fuck is buying a boat right now?
No. They're giving them away literally on the show, so no one's buying a boat.
So the market value of a boat's fallen off.
But is it? I don't know.
I'm not a boater.
Anyway, your Uber rating.
Oh, it's a 5.
Okay.
Yeah, out of how many rides did you count?
Dude, it's a ton. Where's my damn money?
Dude, it's a ton.
Hold on. Because in my days of alcoholism...
You took a ride or two.
I took
All
many.
right, while we're waiting.
Took mini ride. Okay, so here's... yeah, here we go. Hey. There's me.
Let's go while we're young.
TJ's looking at his phone to try show us all the details of his Uber
Boom,
rating.
look at all those rides.
No, you're requesting a ride, you dumbass.
Oh, no, I don't want that.
That was the 6 options it gives you.
Wrong button.
Wow.
Oh, see, there's the 5.
Your rating.
Get over here.
Okay.
There's the 5. Somewhere.
Let me
Wow.
let me do
That's
this.
my
for
name.
you. My God.
So while he does that, also garbage teams coming out of the draft. Arizona, they're going to be playing where? Public playground next year?
Well,
They're playing in the parking lot.
their biggest stadium this year, I believe, is Interest Bank, Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah, they are.
That's actually true. Correct?
That is correct.
They are played at Arizona State, which seats like 5,000, I think.
If that. I think that's withstanding Ramon.
So what got Arizona to this point where they're now playing there?
Shawway, you might. I mean, hasn't it been paid? Someone said they're not paying their bills, but they are paying their bills, and
yeah, it's just a he said, she said, but I think Glendale's just ready for them to leave. Like, there's just been too much animosity between the organization and the city. It just, even with the new ownership, they're just like, nah, we're over it.
Wow.
By the way, 9 trips. That's it.
That's still a 5.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I just think there's so much animosity. There's just the bridges have been burned, not just because it's so hot there, but because it's just not good feelings between the organization and the city. So it was time to move on. Just too bad there wasn't a new arena already built. And I really do hope that they can get one built, even though I've been a proponent of them moving to Houston, which I think deserves an NHL franchise. But that's besides the point. I do think a new rink in the Tempe area, closer to downtown Phoenix, would help them all a great deal. But yeah, they're to go back to where you guys are saying. Yeah, they're playing in a 5,000 seat arena, which is smaller than a lot of AHL and ECHL teams are playing in.
It's Bush League. It is Bush League.
Well, they have another one. I think it's on their fairgrounds, but it's so out of date that there's no way they could play there, even if they were able to renovate it in the summertime or right now.
Well, they're making renovations the Arizona State Arena, right? Because they had to.
I know they have to have certain
NHLPA. They had to keep it up to NHLPA codes, so
Right.
they made a whole bunch of renovations of that. I mean, you spent the money. I
Right.
mean, granted, it's probably different upgrading a 5,000 seat arena instead of a 13 or 14,000 seat arena, but still, like.
Well, it helps that it's under construction still. So, I just it is a shit show, but hopefully it's a temporary shit show for a long-term solution. But I don't know. Their presentation looks nice. The arena looks cool. It's pretty. I don't say futuristic, but it has a lot of newer touches that a lot of arenas don't have currently. So it looks good, but will it work?
The one they're building.
Yeah. It's not, hasn't been decided on, but the city of Tempe did rule in favor of using or accepting their proposal. Now it's just trying to work out who is going to pay what and in what time frame.
I if you're gonna pull a positive out of it, I think one thing I like about preseason hockey here in Wichita, they always have a game at the Wichita Ice Center in late September, early October, and it's a smaller and more intimate atmosphere because they're playing at the practice rink. So I think that might be kind of cool. You're up closer. It's a smaller environment, maybe, but at the end of the day, it's the NHL, you're the top 4 professional sports league in the United States of America, and you have a professional team
Yeah.
playing at a college stadium that holds 5,000 kids.
Yeah, but it's on campus for them, so I think it's going to be a good fit. I mean, like if temporarily, it could be a fun atmosphere with a bunch of college kids there.
Well, sure. That's what I'm saying is the bright point. Like,
Right.
if you can get some lemonade out of this piss, that is it.
Your 2 a.m. piss?
Even though the glass seats were like $14,000 for the season.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Anything else NHL wise?
I don't know. I was just looking at some of the draft picks this year. Is there anything that besides Shane Wright dropping to 4 and staring down the Montreal draft table? The top 5 like picks were ridiculous. Just how all the cards were falling, and then the trades that Montreal had, the 2 trades, like
Yes.
them trading for Kirby Dach, which was tying into our Chicago, our Chicago conversation earlier. And then what was the other trade they made? I forgot. They traded Romanoff for a pick.
Yeah, Romanoff went to the Islanders.
Yes, and they swapped picks, or they swapped a player for picks. So yeah. Yeah, it seemed like a fun time at the Bell Center. Their fans were pretty rambunctious, if you would. I mean, I guess for Canada, I don't know how open they are again, but it seems like people are starting to
Apparently open for business based off of those draft tables.
Yeah,
with
no
the
shit.
executives.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I guess outside of the top 5, I mean, not that I have a whole lot of draft, like prospect knowledge as far as outside of the Avalanche are concerned. Was there any big, like?
Andy, can you scroll up to like 3 draft picks?
Was there any like surprises to you guys?
This is a surprise to me.
Which one?
It's there. Stop. Can you read number 23 draft pick St. Louis Blues' last name, Andy?
I can't because he's going to be subject to a trivia quiz later.
Oh!
Okay. Well then, hey, let's go ahead and just segue out of this and let's go to our next topic.
Well, do you not want to tackle Kemper?
I can't tackle Kemper. He's too tall.
You could take his ankles out.
Yeah, I'll bite him. I'll just nub him off him. But so if you want me to talk about the Avalanche, moving on from Darcy Kemper, and trading for Alex Gorgiev, I was equating it to almost a lateral move. But there's people like a bunch of friends of mine were thinking that it was actually a step forward in a sense as far as the goaltending is concerned. Kemper was one of the best regular season goalies, but as far as the playoffs, he was fairly far down on the list. But he did enough to get them, to a Stanley Cup. So, but for the price that he is asking for, I would not. I don't want to pay him that much. $6 million per year, and he wants term. He's in his 30s. No, it's thank you, but go try to get that somewhere else. I think there's a good chance he could end up in Edmonton, but I don't know who. I'm trying to think of other teams who needs a goalie or struggling for goalies. So that's kind of my thought. Maybe San Jose, but I think they have 3 goalies that they could use. But it's San Jose, so no one's really going to do well. But I think moving on from Kemper was okay. I think it's a fine move. Yeah, you gave up some draft picks for Gorgiev, but it gives Gorgiev a chance to prove himself because he wanted to do that in New York, and he was doing fine until he got hurt, and then Shesterkin just took over and just blew everyone out of the water. So he gets a chance to prove himself, and maybe even gives Francouz a chance to prove that he's a number 1 for the Avalanche too. So it's going to be an interesting season to say the least. And plus, Gorgiev, his numbers were a little down, and I know people are saying, well, he played in front of a kind of a team that didn't have a lot of puck possession, so now he's going to play with a team that has a lot of puck possession and may turn out to be a Grubauer situation where he shines a lot more because he doesn't have to face as many shots. So will that hurt or help him? Who knows? We'll have to see.
I think I will say this. I will give my prediction for Colorado the same way I gave it last year.
Yeah.
They are the Cup favorites, and the way that they lose is goaltending.
Yep. live and die by it.
Gorgiev,
For them.
Gorgiev, I believe, will be an upgrade, but we haven't seen him tested. Kemper got the job done.
Yep, that's all we get. That's all they asked for, and maybe that's all they need Gorgiev to do.
Yeah.
Or Francois if he plays up to the task of taking over the number one.
They don't need Patrick Waugh there.
No, they don't.
But they also don't need
Yeah.
Swiss cheese.
I agree. So, but no, I totally agree, and I'm on board with that. So, okay, well, next, what do you got up next there, Andy? What's the next topic?
So, Askcasters, one thing that we'll lean on you on for a little bit on is just to try to figure out like what you guys want to talk about, what you don't want to talk about. Obviously, we've got extensive hockey knowledge, and we're glad to speak about it. We've got teams,
"Quote unquote" extensive.
We've got teams that we've got some allegiances to, but that doesn't necessarily mean that those are the teams that we have to talk about. So if you like talking
we'll talk
hockey,
about topics at hand, depending on whoever it is.
sure. If there's anybody looking for a good hockey podcast and they want to kind of see somebody else's insight into, a team that we haven't mentioned, but we can, Calgary Flames, San Jose Sharks, you name the team, we'll be glad to talk about them as far as what their relevancy is, what they're doing, and all that good stuff. So feel free to reach out to us on Twitter and talk to us and let us know what we can bring to the table there.
I mean, we're not as cool as like Spittin' Chicklets. We won't shave our heads for bets. We might have to go stay on the
I
corner.
will shave my head for that.
You don't have to.
I will get an ass tattoo.
Okay, maybe we do something cool like that. Or just stand on the corner with a street sign saying, "I don't know how to do fantasy hockey."
But I have 3 championships, so that wouldn't be true.
Not in hockey, though.
Oh, yeah, hockey now.
Yeah, move on.
So, moving on.
Quit living in the past.
We obviously can talk about hockey, but now going to talk about what's going on in the NBA during free agency.
I'm out.
Get trampled by turtles, man.
Not your turtle thing again.
Could be an old turtle.
The nomad.
Sorry.
So, NBA free agency, there's been a lot going on in the last week and a half. I think there's a couple takeaways that we can have here. So, there's a lot of money being spent on free agents, and we'll talk about the dollars here in just a second. But I think one of the other things to take away is that we're actually getting some folks to stay home in markets that maybe in the past they wouldn't have. So I think that's something worth discussing. Just taking a look at where one particular sports book's odds are for futures next season for the NBA title. There is a clusterfuck at the top 5, which is a really, really good thing for the NBA. There is no one that's got general consensus on who is going to win the title as it stands now and where rosters are. Boston currently at plus 540. I don't know if I would totally agree with them as the overall favorite, but they're not a favorite by much. Phoenix Suns just right behind them betting-wise at plus 570. That is going to be really, really subject to change because they are standing as one of the favorites to get Kevin Durant should he move.
So wait, who'd you say was a favorite? I'm sorry.
Boston Celtics.
Okay, thank you.
So Boston Celtics.
Wait, where does Golden State stand there?
Oh, number 3.
Really?
Golden State at plus 630.
That's kind of shocking.
Wow. To disclose my gambling habits, I already have a wager on Golden State.
Shocker. Not you.
To go back to back. LA Clippers are also at plus 630, so they are exactly same betting odds as Golden State Warriors. And finally, as far as our top 5, where the big clusterfuck is, Milwaukee Bucks come in at plus 680. Probably right where they need to be. Giannis is the best player in the world, and they didn't really make it as far as they wanted to because in the NBA injuries happen.
Is that a consensus now that Giannis is probably the best player in the NBA?
I wouldn't say that.
Who would you go with then?
Steph Curry.
Either's fine.
Okay. No,
Steph Curry added a different level to his game in these NBA playoffs.
Right.
He played some lockdown defense, which when he was in those playoff series and those championship series with LeBron, he got worked over by Kyrie whenever they were left one-on-one. He played great defense in the NBA Finals. I didn't watch the playoffs close enough before that, but he played really good defense.
Yeah. I mean, from the standpoint, is there an argument to the best player in the world? Yeah, definitely. It might, I don't know, it might even be a 50-50 split, but I think I'd probably lean on the side of man, Giannis is just getting there.
Yeah.
And he's not
But
that Steph Curry
Yeah.
can be defended, but man, when Giannis is rolling, man, he really cannot be defended.
He's a big body to stop too. He's
Yeah.
so athletic at that size. It's kind of hard to stop that kind of force.
Yeah, and what I was getting to as far as like where Milwaukee Bucks odds are for next year is they're the fifth favorite. But again, it's so close between Boston at 1 all the way to Milwaukee at 5. Milwaukee caught some pretty bad fortune going into the playoffs because Giannis' number 2 man, Chris Middleton, got injured throughout those proceedings, and they just did not have a reliable number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 for Giannis to go to throughout those playoffs. But again, that's not expected as we move forward into next season. To your point, Chestevez, the Golden State Warriors, 6:30. Did you throw down on this one too?
On Golden State?
Yes,
I did. I also threw down on them this year. So Golden State, let's make this 2 years running, boys.
No, let's not.
Why?
I want to root for the Phoenix Suns so my brother can stop pulling his hair out.
Well, I didn't bet for them, so.
Well, I don't care.
So just kind of let you know where things stand. Golden State, man, I really, really like where they're at. Haven't done a lot through free agency, but potentially could be in the Kevin Durant stakes. They've got a really, really interesting situation. We just talked about Steph Curry, talked about how he could potentially be the best player on earth, and he's in his 30s, and it doesn't look like he's going to be slowing down anytime soon. He was amazing during the playoffs. There's a lot of familiarity with where Klay Thompson is, being the number 2 guy out in Golden State. But, man, as I watch them throughout the season and really dialed into watching them during the playoffs this season, Klay Thompson is not the Klay Thompson that we know. There were times during the playoffs where he was almost a liability. They set him up for so many shots and not bad shots either. Some of them were wide open that in the past you would have looked at Klay Thompson taking these shots and saying, "Oh my gosh, that's money." Let's pull a Steph Curry and turn around before we even see it go in the basket. Good is how good Klay Thompson's been.
Yeah.
He's not that guy anymore. Now,
I mean, he's better than Ben Simmons at least.
Much better than Ben Simmons. But at this point, neither Klay Thompson or Ben Simmons are reliable people from a roster
Players, not people.
Fair,
They
whatever.
probably have great credit scores.
They're at least over 580. So
Well, good for them.
where Golden State was lucky this year is where Klay fell off, some other people stepped into roles. Jordan Poole was amazing. There was an interview that I heard with our good friend Ron Artest, Meta World Be Free, where he is already saying that Jordan Poole is a top 30 overall player in the NBA. I don't quite follow him that far, but just for somebody that's got that type of experience in the NBA to give that type of props to Jordan Poole just tells you how good of a player he could be and already is. So good there. And then, man, Andrew Wiggins found a home.
I was gonna say he finally shined where he could have been, or showed who he could have been.
He almost looked like the perfect fit for what Steph needed in the playoffs. Now, I mean, not just from a point standpoint, but man, when Andrew Wiggins drives and he says, "I'm going to the hole," just count it. He's getting fouled or he's scoring.
Yeah,
it's just going to happen.
He was a man on a mission, and he played amazing.
Good for him too.
Yeah.
Got into the league with who did he start with?
Minnesota
Drafted number 1.
Yeah, and he got that huge contract or shoe contract with Adidas, and then just kind of sat there for a few years.
But he really didn't. He averaged 19 points in his career before he ever got to Golden State.
Right.
So it's not like he was underperforming.
But when your team's not making the playoffs and you have you have Jimmy Butler coming in and out the door and Karl Anthony Towns.
You just don't shine as much.
Yeah, and it's good. Yeah, it's good seeing him have a place that he fits and his talents are being shown. It's cool.
Right.
So he's going to be a great fit there. Now, with all of this being said, we just potentially set up some folks for some real disappointment because I think, unlike others, I think Golden State is in the mix to get Kevin Durant. I don't think they're a favorite to get Kevin Durant. Phoenix Suns look like they're the favorite to get Kevin Durant. So if that's what he wants to do, so be it. I'm so over Kevin Durant as far as what he thinks he can do as far as dictating rosters and how he can play and who he thinks he can play with. Whatever. Go to Phoenix if you think that's what you need to do.
Hey, I'm like I said, the door's always open. He can join the Avalanche next year.
Yes, at goalie.
Yeah, goalie. Hell, he could be. He's lengthy.
Yeah.
He's agile.
So Kevin Durant could go to Golden State. Probably not a favorite to go there, but the assets that it's going to take to get him there, some of those key guys that we just talked about, Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, they would definitely be in the mix if something like that were to go down, hypothetically. But if at the end of the day you still land on Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant on your roster, you're probably in pretty damn good shape. We haven't even talked about Draymond that continues. He may not be a point getter, but God, he plays. He's a locker room dude, man.
I love him. But does he work with Durant? And I would much rather have Draymond Green in my locker room than Durant.
Agreed.
If you're Steve Kerr and Jerry West, do you take that shot again, even though it blew up? Well, I mean, they got 2 titles, but you had so much turmoil in that last season and bickering. Do you go through that again?
If you get another 2 titles out of it?
But you just won one.
Well, I mean, I know that just because you, how do I put this? You probably don't like a lot of people you work with, but if you guys get the, if you accomplish your goal, it doesn't matter. And it's tough. It's tough for some people and some athletes to set aside their egos and differences and understand that. It kind of seemed like when we watched The Last Dance, like it seemed like a lot of guys understood that's what the mission was. Okay, I'm not a fan of how Michael, practices or treats us, but we're here to win a championship, so that's why they, everyone just kind of.
Do you think Durant's learned that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, because because by his burner account, it's kind of hard for him to take criticism, especially from outside people. Inside
burner accounts,
yes, accounts that like plural. So I don't know if as someone inside the locker room will get criticize him or critique him. It could be a different story because that's someone that understands the game and how the NBA works more than someone who's on the outside looking in, like Twitter bots, porn bots tweeting at Kevin Durant telling him he's trash, he needs to go fuck himself, kill himself, whatever, and saying stuff like that. But he has to learn to block out that noise too. But I think inside the locker room, I think he's probably more susceptible to accepting that criticism and trying to better himself. I compared to people who are on Twitter telling him that he should shoot 12 more times a game.
Yeah. I don't know, and it seems blasphemous to say because he has an NBA Finals MVP, a NBA.
He's got 2 of them.
Finals?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, excuse me. No, he might
MVPs.
have 2.
I know
He's got 1 MVP. Steph has 2 MVPs. Steph got the Finals MVP this year.
I think Kevin Durant has 2 Finals MVPs.
Well, it was Iguodala. Iguodala got the first one, right?
Did he really?
I think he did.
Wow. That shows how much I pay attention.
I think Iguodala got the first one.
Oh, he is 2-time Finals MVP, Kevin Durant.
I'll take a bow on that one.
That's one of our reference pages, basketballreference.com. So there you go.
There's that $16 a month paying off, baby.
One day they'll sponsor us.
Do you want me to give a rundown of what his accomplishments are?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, he's a 12-time All-Star, 2-time NBA champion, 2007-8 All-Rookie, 2-time as MVP, 2 times as Finals MVP, 4-time scoring champ, 10-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year in 2008. He was a 2013-14 MVP, and he was part of the NBA 75 anniversary team. So, I mean, to go back on your point.
I feel
Oh, and played for the Seattle Supersonics.
I feel
That's an accomplishment.
I think he's the most talented scorer we've ever had in the NBA. I think he is.
I'd probably give it to LeBron over him.
We should be sponsored by Tomatoes because I want to throw one at you very much right now. So angered.
Where's my cabbage?
Do I at least get ripe tomatoes?
I don't know. It depends on who sponsors us.
The tomato yields were exaggerated.
Right now I'm throwing a cherry tomato because that's the most cheap I have. God damn it.
But I think he's the most talented scorer in NBA history. He's a 7-footer that can just rain threes in. No one can defend that. No one can defend his shot. He can sit up and straight jack up a three, and no one's going to get it. From flat-footed.
Would you agree that Giannis is on the same trajectory and has the exact same skill set to bring to the table?
No.
Oh.
Giannis doesn't have an outside shot.
He has a doubt.
Look at his 3 percentage.
Here we go.
I'll go look at the 3%, but I will say it takes him 25 seconds to shoot a free throw.
I bet.
True.
I bet it's below 33%.
Okay, I'm looking it up here. And you said free throw percentage?
No, he's one. He's
a
sorry.
three-pointer.
3-point. Let's see. Percent. That'd be 3P, I'm guessing.
Uh-huh.
It's 0.288, so under 30%.
So he's under 30. Okay.
That part of his game's not developed.
I said same trajectory. I said on the same trajectory.
Well, and
Durant.
Durant's 3-point percentage is at a career of 0.384. So just under 40%.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, I need a tomato.
Ass casters.
Maybe I need to take a tomato to my own face.
I need an egg to put on your face.
Hey, Andy. Shut the fuck up.
Sponsored by Eggland.
Anyway, Baker Mayfield.
Move on.
But I do think he's the most skilled scorer the NBA's ever seen. And I'm all for player movement. I'm all for players having power, but it just seems at some point it seems disingenuous.
What do you mean?
I was looking at LeBron's 3-point percentage. He is 0.348, so that's lower than KD. So okay, just wanted to throw that in there since I mentioned LeBron.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, moving on.
So anyway, NBA free agency. Rudy Gobert, in one of the most ridiculous free agent moves in a while. Rudy Gobert is heading from Utah, headed to Minnesota. Minnesota is giving up the following: an unprotected first-round pick in the years 2023, 2025, 2027, and a top 5 protected pick in 2029. And that's not all. Other players that are being given up: Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Walker
Beverly.
Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt, and Leandro Balmaro, all going in a Rudy Gobert trade.
Rudy Gobert's 3-point percentage is 0. If we were going to question about his scoring prowess.
So, just if that's what the market is, going back to what could be given up to get Kevin Durant on the roster, holy moly!
Yeah, it's gonna be a high. It might benefit the Brooklyn Nets more than it would whoever KD goes to, and not to knock KD because he might give them immediate success, but as far as long term, who knows? And
Zion Williamson, who has not hasn't played in a while, and there is some discussion how good of a pro he's going to turn out to be. There is a lot of body shame on Zion Williamson. They do not like his prospects as being a player that can't get injured based off of what his body type is.
well, he's a thick boy.
He is a thick boy, but apparently New Orleans Pelicans are where I am with him, and they have wanted to keep him around. He's going to stay with New Orleans to the tune of 5 years, $193 million. And in the background, as we look up this
Tweet
information
that shit, son.
on the Askcasters Twitter,
Tweet that shit,
on the
son.
Askcasters Twitter, we are going to show one of the most unbelievable pictures of Hulka Williamson we've ever seen. Holy moly.
Zolka.
So again, Zion to New Orleans. 5-year, $193 rookie extension.
If you guys want to know what I tweeted, or not tweeted, but what I looked up, I'll let you know after the podcast. Oh, God, you thick boy.
A couple other loose ends to tie up NBA free agency-wise. Oh, my goodness. Bradley Beal talking about players that are going to stay at a market that you may not have thought. Bradley Beal, I believe, is going into his 10th year already in Washington.
I honestly don't even know who that is.
Bradley Beal is a player that, pretty much, I wouldn't say came from nowhere, but got drafted out of Florida and just, I would say, overachieved what people thought he was going to do.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I do know who that is. My fault, Bradley.
Yeah, so he's going to stay. Bradley Beal deal, 5-year, $251 million max contract.
I like how they give on the reference pages, they give out the nicknames for him. Like, do you want me to read Brad Beal's nicknames?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Real Deal, Big Panda, Blue Magic, Brad, and Dr. Dre. That's awesome. I love
Wait,
it.
was it Brad and Dr. Dre?
No.
Like all in one, or
No,
Brad?
Brad,
Okay.
Dr. Dre.
I thought he had some like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde shit going on. I had the potion.
Oh, yeah, and Zion Williams is just Xanos, or as I call him, Thick.
Thickos.
Thickos.
Girl, you thicker than oatmeal.
Rudy Gobert. My favorite is the French rejection.
Is that his dating life or his defensive prowess?
Probably both. Oh, that's funny.
Phoenix Sun Devin Booker going on, continuing about free agency. 4 years, 224. Basically, the point. These deals now in the NBA are at least 4 years and north of $200 million easily.
Yeah.
So Devin Booker again, 4-year, $224 million supermax extension. Ja Morant agreed on terms on a 4-year deal, $226 million. Another star that's going to stay in a market that maybe we wouldn't necessarily think is going to have a lot of leverage financially. We are wrong. Denver Nuggets star Nikola Jokic agrees to the richest contract in NBA history, a 5-year, $264 million supermax. And finally, Minnesota superstar Kyle Anthony Towns, or Cat, agrees on a 4-year, $224 million supermax. The money is insane.
Now, I think we talked to last week about the NBA compared to the NHL, obviously, but they are just a money generating machine. I mean, the NFL is obviously number one, but like how, I don't know, like what do you equate that to? Like, is it just because how much they push their athletes out there? Is it because of they are so popular overseas, like especially with China, who has billions of people who can buy merch that they actually probably make? But what do you equate that to? Because there's so much more money in that compared to like the NHL or something like that. Like what? It's ridiculous the amount of the price of the contracts compared to like the best player on the Avalanche is making $8 million or $10 million.
Yeah, so
these guys are making double that.
I don't totally get that, because one of the things that I think plays part of what these roster or these contract numbers ultimately end on, I think is dictated by how many people are on a roster. So
you go to like what's on an NBA roster usually, but what do you think? Isn't it 15?
15 people.
So we're like hockey, they have 23.
Right.
Well, and that's that's just playing. That's not even like their not say practice squad, but guys going in and out of the lineup.
So NBA rosters
and then
are the smallest of all.
And then the
rosters.
NFL has 53.
Yeah.
So they have tons of money and they play less games.
And but think about it. And then, we'll kind of get this argument convoluted if we go here, but where the NFL's headed, gosh darn it! I mean, Patrick Mahomes signed a $500
He
million.
is serious, guys.
Gosh darn it!
$500 million contract. I mean, that number just blows me away. But to be fair, there's some issues happening now on the back end where people are wondering, from a contract standpoint, other people on the Kansas City Chiefs, that they're going to be able to sign based off of the contract that they gave to Mahomes. But to your point, Shwami, they were talking about 53 people on the roster, and one of those pieces, just one, is getting $500 million. Just insane money. But back to the NBA, again, roster size, I think, dictates it. But one thing that does have me confused is, gosh, it just like, I don't understand why the NHL just can't get international traction with promoting their stars. I mean, it doesn't seem that they have the same success that the NBA does promoting their stars internationally. Now, I guess the markets could be a little bit different. So we have maybe Europe is a better international market for the NHL than the NBA. And probably China's not the biggest fan potentially of.
I mean, they've played a couple exhibition games over in China, so I mean, it's not like they haven't tried. It's just, I don't know if it's just gained any traction. It's and let's be honest, it's a harder sport to get into.
Yeah,
financially
and
and skill wise.
And there's no tradition of it in China.
Well, was there a tradition of basketball in China before all that? Before it spread naturally. You know what I'm saying? Like, was there? I mean,
was there?
I don't know. I don't know either. I mean, obviously, besides soccer or football.
It seems China's always been interested in basketball. It seems from the '90s, like from the Dream Team. Yeah. I think that kind of globalized it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's an easier sport to get into and easier to play right off the hop compared to a hockey or anything like that.
Well, it's cheaper.
It's cheaper
by a mile.
Yeah.
But I've always been on the side of hockey where just get the kids playing simple as playing gym floor ball hockey. Just do something simple like that. You don't have to get them skates or on an ice rink. Just get them to play that kind of hockey. So it's at least starting a spark to light a fire for later for who knows how many kids. But at least get it to where all the kids are on an even playing field right off the hop. But that's kind of on that subject. But as far as the NBA, I just think it's such an easier sport to gravitate towards as far as that's concerned. And let's be honest, their personalities are a little bit bigger than the NHL. I mean, the NHL, like Austin Matthews, a couple guys like that, are starting to show their personalities and let that shine more. It's getting away from the old boys club as far as you don't become bigger than the team. But it's kind of, I don't know if that mindset is part of it in your eyes.
Well, it's the NBA seems like their players have a lot more fun than NHL players do.
Are you talking about the strip club or?
Well, I don't know. Both go pretty hard.
Especially when you have McDermott throwing it over his head and falling backwards, the cup that is.
It's heavy, baby. But the NBA, you actually get to see the players' faces.
Yeah.
They come in. They're dressed. It's more creative. It's more festive. It's more fun. And not to knock the hockey guys, and they do look like man rockets in their suits. But I'd rather watch Russell Westbrook walk in with his goofy fucking glasses and parachute pants than watching Nate McKinnon walk in with his straight haircut and no facial hair and just.
Hey,
I love him.
It's classically good looking.
He is, but wouldn't it be wouldn't you just want to see Cale Makar with how easygoing it is walk into the rink with fucking board shorts on?
If you want me to be honest about it, I really don't give a shit what these guys wear. Be them.
I get it. But that's what I'm saying. The NHL is not like that.
Right. It hasn't been, and I think it's slowly starting to become that, hey, become yourself, but don't make us look stupid.
Yeah, and the NBA, I think they're just better marketed.
Yeah.
I think they've been a better marketer
for decades.
I mean,
they set that back in the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the 92 Olympics really ramped it up.
Yeah.
And Jordan, I mean, it was just a huge synergy of things going on in the early '90s, and then
My goat.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's, it's like one of those things that you're jealous of, but you can't be because the NBA actually worked for it. It wasn't something accidental.
I would say I think that the momentum is shifting for the NBA or the NHL as far as like where these contract numbers could be headed.
Well, and
They've done the right thing
By
TV-wise.
going back to the ESPN
Smartest move they've done in a
and
long time.
TNT.
Yep, absolutely, totally
And-
on board with you there.
Yeah.
If they can stay consistent with that and keep the actual games accessible for people to watch on some of the highest stream platforms, they're going to be in better shape. And we're going to have this conversation 10 years from now, and we're going to look at contracts right now, which are 2 years, $10 million in the NHL, and those are going to be 4-year, $100 million contracts. So
Right.
we'll get there. So anything else you guys want to tie up on NBA?
I really don't have a whole lot to talk about, honestly.
I'm excited for
Yeah.
I kind of, if this is where it's going, where Boston's going to be, they're finally going to establish themselves as the top heavy in the East, and then the West is just going to be fun. I'm excited for the NBA season. That's all I have.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So let's move on to something we haven't talked really anything about is the NFL.
It's coming.
We're getting there.
It's good.
We got some football boys.
Talk dirty to me. I'm coming.
So,
Omaha.
so we'll just start the conversation off with where just Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield will transition us into a couple different things.
Poor Baker.
The fucking disrespect. Andy, do you want to highlight the disrespect? What the draft pick? The trade for Baker Mayfield.
Oh, so there are quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes that get 10 years, $500 million contracts to show the worth of what they think their quarterback is worth. There's quarterback contracts all over the league that we could look at that are just huge numbers. But yet, with that being said, all the Browns get for getting rid of Baker Mayfield is a conditional 5th-round pick.
Wow.
The condition being that 5th-round pick could move to a 4th-rounder.
That is insulting. Poor Baker.
Their starting quarterback now has 24 women accusing him of asking for handies.
Not Andy's.
Not
handies.
Andy's,
Oh,
handies.
good old fashioned.
He'd be totally out of the league if he asked for an Andy.
How much is an Andy? You don't know.
We don't know.
Your career?
That could be all of our careers. They gave Handyman a $250 million contract over 4 years,
It was
correct?
North 225, maybe, and some change.
And it was all guaranteed.
That's the big part of
This
it right there.
motherfucker might not start a single game this year.
And if the NFL is smart, he won't start a game this year.
And back to starting us off to where we got on, Baker Mayfield just got sent off for at most, a 4th-round draft pick.
That's embarrassing.
That is a fuck you to him.
So one of the things that I think is to Baker Mayfield's credit, he got a franchise to the playoffs that had not been there, I believe, since 1995 is the number that I want to think, as far as the year that they last went there. Or maybe that was their last win. I don't know. But
I think it's probably it's at least their last.
I think it was 95. and
been a
that's
long
when
time.
Belichick? Was Belichick the coach?
Yeah, because it wasn't Schottenheimer, because Schottenheimer's in Kansas City.
Yeah, then he left. Yeah, they left for...
Yeah.
So incompetent since the mid-'90s, you actually get a quarterback that takes you to a playoff game and wins it, and then removed from the roster within 18 months.
For a man with 24 accusations of hand jibbers.
And I think what that leaves Cleveland with now, if Deshaun Watson can't play, I believe the starting quarterback is Jacoby Jacoby Brissett is what I want to say.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
painful. So that's going to be a ruined season for the Cleveland Browns if it goes that direction. But going to Carolina's standpoint on this whole deal, this is an interesting. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So as much as I'm trying to make an argument for the value of Baker Mayfield and what he's done, and in his last season there, I didn't even really talk about the fact that he was playing on a bruised wing. But man, now Vegas they haven't even moved the line for the number of wins that they're suggesting that the Carolina Panthers are going to have. Before the trade happened, most books had the Carolina Panthers at a win total for the next season of, generally it was 6.5. I think there were some 6s out there, which is a really weird number, but I think it was 6.5. After the trade, that number in those exact same books has stayed the exact same, which suggests one of two things. They either think that Baker Mayfield is going to be the starter and really not worth a damn and not much different than what has been their starter in Sam Darnold, or they're not even confident that Baker Mayfield's even going to start, and they're going to still go with Sam Darnold. So, holy moly.
You'd have to think Vegas's logic behind that was Sam Darnold's going to be the starter. That has to be Vegas's logic in setting that line.
So let's look at this. So the weapons for Carolina on offense, what does Baker Mayfield have to play with? One, we think we know, but we don't know as far as the reliability and availability. Christian McCaffrey is still there. Hasn't really, I think he's missed 10 games in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, something like that.
Or maybe he's only played 10 games in the last 2 seasons.
Feels like both.
So not good there, but supposedly he's back up and healthy. That would be a big benefit. Wide receiver core for Carolina, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall Jr. I mean, I don't even know. I don't know how you. Maybe I agree with Vegas at that 6.5 wins. That's not a good receiving core.
Well, let's look at the AFC or NFC South. Where's Atlanta going to be?
In the tank.
Where's New Orleans going to be?
Potentially in a decent spot to hit 500.
And then Tampa is going to be good.
Tampa will win the division as long as they stay healthy. As long as Tom Brady's healthy, they win the division again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a. Besides Tampa, that's. Ugh. No, I. As far as options and offensive options for the Panthers, that is not a stable you want to go back to.
Brutal.
And does Christian McCaffrey want to stay there after this year? And what's his value after this year if he's healthy? I mean,
I'd have to do a little bit of digging, but I do believe that his contract status is going to keep him in Carolina for a while.
Oh, yeah, he did just sign one, didn't he?
I think he's there for a little bit. So, other thing that comes to the table as part of the Baker Mayfield trade to Carolina is where he could have gone, and I think the favorite for which team was suggested to actually get him and probably needed him most is Seattle. And Seattle's not going to get Baker Mayfield, which is going to leave them in this position. Starting quarterback 1A, Geno Smith. Starting quarterback 1B,
Jesus.
Drew Lock.
Oh, God.
Is that official, or is that your interpretation? Is that what the depth chart says, or is that your depth chart?
I mean, I can officially go look at the depth chart if we need to. But that what I just gave you was my interpretation.
Jesus.
Do we want to bring up the hate that Drew Lock received, which was absolutely hilarious on Twitter? Well, while you're finding that.
What was the hate he received on Twitter?
So a Seahawks fan commented below a post about Wimbledon and said, not a real sport. Well, the U.S. Open official Twitter handle tweeted below this gentleman and said, this is coming from someone who's going to watch 17 games of Drew Lock starting at quarterback.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And I thought that was the best own that tennis has had in a long time. That was the best thing tennis has done in quite a while.
Give that intern a raise, or actually pay them.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So according to my reading material here in front of me, official off-season depth chart at quarterback for Seattle. Drew Lock 1A, Geno Smith 1B. That is just brutal. I will be betting everything I possibly can. Whatever under is available to bet on Seattle. Total wins, division wins, the yards. Oh my gosh, if they've got a yards prop for Drew Lock, give it to me all day long. I'll be all over. They are going to be... Atlanta's going to have a little bit of a say in this. But the fact that Seattle has the division that they have, Seattle is going to be by far the worst team in the entire NFL.
In the entire NFL.
Entire NFL. They're not going to win I can't see them winning a division game. They might be Arizona once.
Yeah.
Okay, so divisional games are usually closer than that. Divisional games usually don't play out exactly how rosters are. So I'll give them a whole one divisional win.
Congratulations.
Why did you lose that Arizona?
All right, let's check. Oh, who is going to be a more putrid team than that?
I mean, Atlanta's going to be bad. Atlanta's going to be bad.
Where's New York going to be?
The Jets?
Yeah.
I mean, there's thoughts that they're actually going to stay afloat to the tune of maybe like 5 or 6 wins.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
It's based off of what they did in the draft. They have one of the most heavily bet teams in the NFL right now for futures are the New York Jets based off of the draft.
It's the Jets.
All right, here's their schedule. Tell me if it's a win or a loss.
Okay, who's scheduled here?
This is New York Jets,
Okay.
2022.
Why did we jump to the Jets?
Because I just asked about
Okay,
the Jets.
fair enough. Let's go.
We were talking about the Jets.
Okay, I'm there.
Versus Baltimore.
Loss.
At Cleveland.
Done.
Man.
At Cleveland.
Is there a draw?
Tie.
Tie? Can it be a 0-0?
This is the first. Cincinnati.
Loss.
At Pittsburgh.
They might be able to win that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Versus Miami.
They might be able to win that.
Ooh. Green Bay.
Loss.
Denver. At Denver.
Loss.
New England.
Loss.
Buffalo.
Loss.
At New England.
Loss.
Chicago.
They could win that.
At Minnesota.
Ooh. Man, I would think Minnesota would win that one.
At Buffalo.
Loss.
Versus Detroit.
Draw.
Brother.
And brought to you on Prime Video.
Oh God.
Jacksonville.
Oh.
versus the Jets.
Oh, man. Another 0-0 slugfest. Man,
We have 3 draws.
Man, so there might be 6 wins in there. But still the Jets aren't playoff good. But
We're
they won't be
talking
the
about
worst
the
team.
shittiest team.
They won't be the worst team.
I don't see the shittiest team coming from the AFC North. AFC South.
Can't wait.
Jacksonville's there.
Oh God.
Jacksonville will be better this year.
I hope.
They-
I really hope. Pretty boy,
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. I hope
He'll be better.
I
think so.
And going back to, I know I'm starting to dabble a little bit into the gambling. I think a good over-under
Get
prop
there.
is his yards. I think Trevor Lawrence yards prop is one to keep an eyeball on. Because he's not only is he going to be better overall, but they're still going to be down in most games, and he's going to be passing.
How pissed off are you that if you're Trevor Lawrence, that your first head coach was the herb?
I mean, I don't.
All you can do is go up.
Peyton Manning was 1 for 15 in his first year.
But-
Troy Aikman had a brutal first year.
Their coaches were developing though. Herb was just getting.
So was Trevor Lawrence. He was developing too. He probably didn't have a lot of time to focus on the ineptitude of his head coach.
Yeah.
So he's doing his thing.
Any time to bash Herb is just a.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. He sucks.
By the way, playing for pieces of shit. I mean, he played at fucking Clemson for Dabo Swinney. So I mean, I don't know a lot of Dabo Swinney fans out there. And he managed him for as long as he did.
That's true.
Tough go. But hey, we'll see. Next year will be a very, very big test for the old Lawrence guy.
Okay, so Jacksonville, you're saying better. Houston.
I'm probably disagreeing with most people that think Davis Mills is going to be better than last year. I think Davis Mills is garbage. So I don't put them for more than 5 wins.
Okay. I don't see a bad team in the AFC West.
There's not.
NFC East, Washington.
That whole organization needs to be torn down.
What the hell's their name now? The Commodores?
Commanders.
The Commodores.
Are they? This would be a great song for a football team. Who plays it? And that's why I'm easy, yeah. I'm easy like Sunday morning. Thank you, Commodores.
Yeah.
Sunday mornings are really easy in early January
Actually, they're really tough. I got tremendous hangovers.
when you're not in the playoffs. Sometimes, when my season's over, I just sit there and I smell the sweet cinnamon buns my wife just made, and I forget that I am quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Or, is that their name?
Jaguars.
Jaguar.
Jaguars.
How many syllables does Jaguars have?
It depends on if you're British or not.
And evil.
There's no There's no Jaguars in England.
How much? No, there are.
Where?
Okay, so back in.
Here we go. Here comes the nerdiest story we've heard up to this time.
So 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, and 1700s.
There was a Jaguar named Trevor.
In England. No. So as the English Empire was expanding, they would take a lot of foreign animals and bring them back to England, and they'd have these zoos. So that's why, bears are native, but you get weird fucking animals in England.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Thanks, Joe.
Just passing out knowledge for free, bitches.
So, this has all been great conversation.
Now let's talk about the zoo.
We have, unless we got anything left with the NFL, we have our first trivia game.
Yay!
We ready?
Yeah.
So, what I've set up here will be the first of many trivia games for this podcast. This one is going to be relative to the NHL Draft.
Ooh.
It's not going to have anything to do with who got drafted where, what team, what organization, what developmental league, none of that. Simply, I'm going to give each one of you we'll have 3 rounds.
Okay.
In each round, I'm going to give each one of you the name of somebody that was recently drafted in the first round of the NHL Draft. Your job is to tell me how many consonants are in how many vowels are in each individual's name. I'll repeat that. How many vowels are in each individual's name?
Will we receive the country of origin?
In some instances, you will.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you will. That's part of the research that I did. Now, one of the other things that I tried to do, to be fair to both of you, is I tried to make sure that I myself knew the pronunciation of all the athletes that I'm going to give you. So at the end of the day, you can't say, oh, well, I guessed 7 vowels when it should have been 2 because you, Mr. Andy, trivia dictator, were unable to give us the exact pronunciation. So I've tried to help you out there. I think everybody I've got on for you, somebody that I know pretty much intimately at this point. So,
Intimately.
who would like to...
He knows these young boys very intimately.
It says Michigan State Gymnastics.
Oh.
Fuck, man.
God damn it.
So-
Answer.
You know, by the way, the more that I'm thinking about it, Deshaun Watson should have got his massage.
Sean Watson.
How many-
Susie Stevens.
Detroit.
Poughkeepsie.
All right. Who would like to tee off?
I'll go.
Okay.
Huawei.
I forget the goddamn game, but I will do it.
Huawei.
Again,
Yeah, let's go.
not only for you as a contestant, but for the porn bots, we need to know. This is going to be how many vowels are in this person's name.
Okay.
Do I need to pay attention if he misses?
You don't.
So
So,
I can just laugh in derision.
So, and we're talking first and last name, or just last.
yes, I'm giving you first and last name,
Okay.
and it looks like I've done a pretty good job of doing my homework and give you in country of origin as well.
Okay.
So, in case you have like some background in European dialect, good on you. Now, with the number 1 pick in the NHL draft, the Montreal Canadiens select Juraj Slafkovsky, left winger, Finland. Juraj Slafkovsky.
I'm guessing how many vowels are in his name.
You're guessing how many vowels are in his name?
Is Y a vowel?
Oh, we're not doing soft vowels. Y is not a vowel.
So I know there's 2 in his first name. So there's 2 there.
A-E-I-O-U. Sometimes
Sometimes
W.
Why? We don't know.
One, 2.
Juraj Slafkovsky.
Now, if either of us don't get it right, do we get whoever's closest?
I don't have to guess.
No,
yours.
this is strictly yours.
Okay.
He-
Well, I know. I understand, but like the next time he goes up, you know what I'm saying?
What happened?
Are you gonna play?
for his first rounder, he's gonna get a different player.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we both get it wrong,
You get 0 points.
Okay.
Okay.
all right. I'm gonna go with 4 vowels.
4 vowels.
Yeah.
For Juraj Slafkovsky. Juraj Slafkovsky is spelled Juraj Slafkovsky. For a total of 4 vowels for Mr. Schwammy. He has 1 point on the board.
Oh, fuck.
And apparently I made a note to myself in case we wanted to expand upon his greatness. Late surprise pick.
So I got 1 point.
You got 1-0.
Yes, on the board.
Dude, I know we're supposed to be competitive, and I'm supposed to say, like, fuck you at this point, but well done, Shawway.
Thank you.
That was really well done.
Thank you.
In the essence of time, let's move immediately to
Yeah.
the next one.
All right.
Is it cheating if I write it down?
It is not.
Okay.
With the number 5 pick in the NHL draft,
In a jail.
the Philadelphia Flyers select Cutter Gauthier,
Oh, this is easy.
left winger, U.S. developmental team.
A-U-I-E 4.
Already going with 4? Okay. That was quick. All right. You got 4.
Not only was that quick, it was wrong. So,
Oh!
Cutter Gauthier, C-U.
Oh, we were doing the whole name?
Did you
Yeah,
not
did
just
you not
see
hear
what
the
we
wor-
just
the-
did?
Oh, I just did the last name.
That's on you. That's on you.
You idiot.
Well,
That is on you. You get 0 points. Cutter Gauthier, for those participating.
that's bullshit.
See, that's
No,
not
it's not bullshit.
We just
I
went
asked.
through an entire minute with walking through Juraj Slafkovsky's first and last name.
God.
Cutter Gauthier, Cuttergauthier. 54 games, 34 goals, 31 assists.
I feel like my start out was the start of the XFL way back in like 1997 where they just ran head first at each other and tried to get the ball. But instead of someone successfully getting the ball, both players were just knocked injured. And,
You're concussed.
yeah.
All right. Let's go on then to round
So
2.
after round 1 of 3, the leader is Schwammy, who actually paid attention to the directions.
Tough game.
That is a tough game.
Okay, here we go. This is a great, not just a great name for our game, but just a great name overall. With the number 11
Who's
pick.
this to?
This is to him.
Me.
This is to Schwammy.
Been going on and off. Switch.
With the number 11 pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, the Phoenix Coyotes select Connor Geekie, center. Connor Geekie.
Cool.
Both names.
Thank you. Connor. So usually, Connors have 2 vowels in their first name. Usually. Sometimes they're spelled with a Y.
Connor.
Connor.
Coiner. Coiner.
Okay, so there's 2.
If it helps you, he played 63 games and had 46 assists.
That has nothing to do with it. I'm gonna go with 6 vowels. 6.
6 vowels for Connor Geekie. Connor Geekie is spelled CONORGEEKIE.
Thank you.
Connor Geekie. 6 vowels.
Thank you.
2-0.
It's fucking rigged.
You get Zhilkrosnov Oigboynikov.
I'll have seconds. The rock soup is great, sir.
The boys ate stew for 2 weeks.
It was lightly seasoned with grass.
And I had more.
Thank you, Oliver.
All right. Up next.
Okay, so the score going into the back end of round 2. 2-0, Schwammy lead. Next is Scrode. Here we go.
Fucking people's champ.
With the number 14 pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, Dana's Winnipeg Jets select right winger. Oh, this is a good name. Rutger McGroarty.
Rutger
McGroarty.
Can you pronounce the last name?
I will. I've done extensive research. The last name is McGroarty. McGroarty.
Can I have a country of origin?
He, I believe, is American, but if you give me another second, I could probably give you a little bit more insight.
Well, don't show him your screen there.
I'm not looking. I'm a good player. Not a goddamn chance. Some people. I think I have my answer.
Rutger McGroarty is appears to be a U18 United States National League guy.
So, Rutger. I just lost it.
Rutger McGroarty. He is a noun.
Rutger.
He is a full noun.
RUTGER. So 2 there.
Okay.
Correct.
And then McGroarty. McGroarty. 2 there, making 4.
So this is what we were wondering about with McGroarty. Would there be an A in McGroarty? And there is an A in McGroarty.
Okay.
Rutger McGroarty. RUTGERMCGROA.
Did he get 4?
Yeah. RTY. 2-1.
Wow. Well played.
Get off my jock, son!
Good job. That was actually an underrated tough one. Good job.
Now, as we get ready to head into the third round here, I think that I
Third
will...
and final, right?
Third and final, unless we have a tiebreaker, which I've got a name for tiebreakers.
Okay.
Good there. I would like to point out as we get ready to transition into this third round, I've got a little nugget of knowledge for you as it relates to the NHL Draft. The number 26 and number 27 picks both had the exact same first name, spelled the exact same way. It was Philip, spelled as only Europeans do, F-I-L-I-P. Thanks, Europe.
Wow.
I like...
Flip.
No, we're not going to talk about spelling.
All right, so
All right, here we go. To Schwammy. I thought about this one long and hard.
That's what she said.
thank you.
I was wondering to myself if this was too easy or not too easy. And I think there's a lot of variables in here.
I got fucking McRory.
Oh, wait till you get your next one. With the number 23 pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, the St. Louis Blues select right winger from the U.S. Developmental League, Jimmy Snuggerud.
Okay.
Did you just try to look at my computer?
No, I already saw it.
Okay.
That was
I feel
the
like
name I
you looked
asked.
at it for
No.
some reason.
That was the name I asked you about earlier.
I know, I remember.
Can you pronounce his last name again?
Can I spell it? Yes, no, I cannot. Jimmy Snuggerud.
Sounds like a redneck word.
Snuggerud.
Well, I'm going to snugger right up to her.
If it makes you feel any better, the Blues take the Minnesota kid right before the Wild have a chance to snag the snug.
All right.
I
think
added that, not them. You think you got it?
Yeah, I think I do. I'm gonna go with.
Now, I want you to think about, before you give your answer, I want you to think about how Jimmy the Monkey was spelled.
Well, shit, that blows. Okay.
Maybe I just threw that in there to fuck you up. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Jimmy the Monkey.
Jimmy the Monkey's a real monkey.
But how did we spell it?
I feel like I remember how this was spelled when I
With
saw
our
it.
minds.
I'm gonna go with. Fuck you. I'm gonna go with four vowels.
Four nouns.
Four
Four
nouns.
nouns. Sorry, four valves.
With the 23rd draft pick, the St. Louis Blues get 4 people.
Four nouns, proper.
They get a lot of they/thems.
Jimmy Snuggerud is spelled Jimmy
Okay, got that one.
Snuggerud.
That makes me the winner, eh?
I thought you said 4.
I did say 4.
Let's count these bad boys up.
That's 4. Am I high?
You're good. You're good.
Woo!
You're good.
Yeah. No.
Thank you very much. You, what?
So you won?
Yeah, I got 3. You only had 1.
All right. Can I get the third one just because we know
Oh, you're getting
the first one was bullshit?
Why?
Because I forgot the rules.
You didn't forget them. You just didn't pay any fucking attention.
No, I paid attention. I just forgot them.
Okay. With the number 29 pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, after 2 guys named Philippe, the Arizona Coyotes. Now, this is what his league is from. He's a defenseman. He's from. I've got this listed as the QMJHL.
Yep.
The Arizona Coyotes select Maverick Lamoureux.
Lamoureux. Maverick Lamoureux.
Again, I did extensive research into how all of these are pronounced.
Maverick Lamoureux. MaverickLamoureux.
No.
That is incorrect. Maverick Lamoureux.
Lamoureux.
First, we're going to knock off your K because they spelled Maverick wrong in whatever weird country this is.
Where is he from?
He's a defenseman from the
He's
QMJHL.
probably from Quebec.
He's French Canadian.
So apparently, his name is spelled
It's just tough.
So no tiebreakers needed there. Congratulations, Schwammer.
Thank you.
Congratulations on winning our first trivia game.
Thank you.
My therapist told me to be less competitive, so I'm gonna practice this on the podcast by saying, Shawe, good job, buddy. And,
Thank you.
And fuck you.
Well, boys and girls,
Thank you very much.
I think that is going to wrap it up for our third Askcasters podcast. Again, your input as you would continue to follow us on all the socials would be appreciated. We can cater content if there's something that you want to hear about. We're pretty cool. We have like a diverse skill set.
Give him the social.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a little bit at the Twitter is going to be at Askcasters, at ASSCASTERS for Askcasters. And I believe, is there anything in addition to that?
Our
Schwammer or
YouTube
Scrode?
page, and we are available on Apple Podcasts as well. If you want to mention that, TJ.
Yeah, we are available on Apple Podcast. Just look up our podcast name at Askcasters. Sorry. Also, if you're doing any Amazon shopping, use the Askcasters code Askcasters-20. On any Amazon purchases, it would be greatly appreciated as we get our little startup off the ground. And I'll throw it back to you, Andrew.
That was it. Appreciate everybody listening. Again, give us your input, and we will have another podcast in a week. We will see you, ladies and gentlemen, later.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.